welcome to another edition of UFO Video Addicts. Let me give you a quick preview of what I got coming up in this video. The first is a sphere that was captured on camera. I'm not too sure where this is, doesn't say. Also have this video here that I'm pretty sure I've shown before, but you know, when I look at the date here, it says it was just recently uploaded, but I remember posting a similar video. I guess I think this is the same video a couple years ago. But anyway, you know, since it came up again, and you know, like I've said, sometimes I will repost videos that I posted before because you know I get new people all the time. Let's see, I got this one here. Yeah, and this goes back to all, you know, all the people that say, oh, there are no clear images of UFOs, or you know, they ask, well, how come all the photos of UFOs are all blurry, out of focus? And it's just not true. I got this one here for this UFO that was in Marlin Beach, Australia. And then I found this one here, 20 UFO pics from 1980 to 1999. Again, you know, I still don't understand why people use that excuse. Anyways, I found this on my Facebook. It's, you know, what appears to be a skull of a large alien with huge eyes. And this is actually from the United States Air Force. Or at least that's what it says here. I'm not too sure if that's where it's at. Let's see, and I have this video here from Elizondo. This was a talk that he gave at the British GQ. But here, this guy asks him, how long have the aliens been visiting? And Elizondo basically says that, you know, it's a possibility that they've always been here. And I also have this clip from Robert Bigelow saying the same thing. You know, this is his famous they're right under our noses statement from an interview with Lara Logan on 60 Minutes. I also found this video here. Scientists discovered non-human technological satellites in Earth's orbit, and this is looking at old slides of stars, and I guess they've determined that, you know, some of them are moving, and they've been up there a really long time. Also have this video here of Karen Hudez basically talking about how the descendants, right, of these elongated skulls are still here. Like, you know, I've said this before, and they're running the banking industry, and they, you know, they hide themselves. Anyways, this is a memo I found on Reddit, JFK UFO memo to CIA 10 days before Assassinated. Now, you know, who knows if this had anything to do with his assassination, because I've heard that there was another reason. Also have this article here, is ET phoning home? Astronomers detect unprecedented space signals. And then last is this document here from NSA.gov's website, Communications with Extraterrestrial Intelligence. 7 pages worth. Anyways, let's go to the first one. Oh yeah, again, if you appreciate the time and effort that I put into bringing these links and these videos to you, please give this video a like, please share it, and most importantly, subscribe. So anyways, let's go to this one here.
Aí o vídeo, mas estava chovendo, a pessoa viu, não é chovendo, mas assim, o céu já estava nublado, né? Olha só que a pessoa visualizou ali, parece metálico. Será que poderia ser um balão, mas não sei. Parece um objeto metálico realmente, né? De longe.
It sounds like he's speaking Portuguese, so I'm going to assume this is in Brazil.
Longe assim, mas não sei, né? Ele entra dentro das nuvens, né? Acaba sumindo ali, né? Entra por ali, a seta, né? Que coloquei. Ó, gente, o que será que é isso, hein? Realmente é bem interessante. Chegando perto, esse é um zoom. O que vocês acham, gente? Comenta aí.
Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's go to this second video. Now, like I said, I'm pretty positive I've seen this video before. But you can see, I think it's this one right here. Yeah, you can see that it moves, makes turns. And if I remember correctly, the guy says that he can see some light sparkling inside of it.
seems crazy. It's a fucking cloud with lights in it. Moving weird. I've never seen no shit like that. Cloud got sparkly lights in it. I've never seen no shit like that. Moving
Yeah, look,
weird.
look at that turn. Yeah, that is definitely not a natural cloud. Anyways, link will be in the description. Let's go to this one here. Okay, now these are clearest UFO images from 1993, March 10th in Australia, Marlin Beach. Now again, this is yeah, this is one of those images where I can't make it any larger. I believe this thing came out of it. Yeah, you know, looking at this, I wonder if this is one of ours. Because from my understanding, if there are any rivets or bolts in it, it's man-made. I mean, it's one of ours. Or if they're smooth, yeah, no seams, you know, completely smooth, it's one of theirs. Anyways, that's that, and I also have this one here, 20 UFO pics from 1980 to 1999, Best Collection Series. Same thing with this one. I can't make it any larger. Yeah, that's the one from Marlin Beach. Anyways, I went through these kind of quick, but of course, you know, the link will be in the description so you can check them out yourself. Now, this is a strange one here. Again, I have no idea whether it's authentic or not. I mean, it looks authentic to me, but down here it says United States Air Force. Look at the size of those eyes. And there's really no context in here. I may have posted this before, but in case you didn't see, here it is again. And some people still running around asking, are we alone in the universe? Anyways, that's that. Okay, now here, let's go to this clip of Luis Elizondo. This guy, yeah, let me just play the whole thing because this guy asked him, what do you think about, well, you know, I don't want to make that too big. Anyways, check this out.
How long do you think we've been visited for? Is this since, it seems like flying saucer, the idea of the flying saucer seems to be a sort of post-war phenomenon. Do you think it's, you know, the last century, or do you think it goes back further than that?
Fantastic question. Let me share with you an experience that I had at in Rome not too long ago. I had the honor and pleasure of sitting down with some individuals that were out of the Vatican. And there was a scroll, and in this scroll, it was written in Latin, and it was a communique between a Roman soldier and a Roman general, some 2,000 years ago. And what they described in this communique was the name for the Roman shield is eclipus, means like eclipse, like a sun. And so they described these flaming Roman shields in the sky that would follow them from battle space to battle space. So it is quite possible we are dealing with something that could be potentially, not necessarily even from outer space. Believe it or not, it could be from right here. It could be right from this planet, and we're just now at a point where technologically we're beginning to interact with it. I'll give you another case in point. Up until very recently, the last 100 years or so.
Yeah, let me just stop this. Yeah, remember, you know, in his position, he has to not come out and say, you know, definitively. He's, you know, a lot of his answers are generally posed as additional questions, right? Could be, when he knows that that's the case. But, you know, I really think that yeah, maybe he doesn't, he doesn't want to alarm people. Because, you know, I've gone into some Discords and some other podcasts talking to other UFO channels. And, you know, when I tell the people, look, they've been here and here's all the evidence, they still try and deny it. Now, these are people within the UFO community that refuse to acknowledge the fact that, you know, there's all of this evidence to indicate that they've always been here. But anyways, let me just finish what he says in this part.
We believed as a species there were only two types of kingdoms of living organisms, and that was animal and plant. And then about 150 years ago, we realized that fungi was its own kingdom of life form. And about 100 years ago, we realized there were these little microorganisms that someone famously screamed, little beasties, little beasties. And there's a whole another kingdom of life form that has been invisible to us since we've been Homo sapiens sapien. And we just now realize, and by the way, the biomass of that one kingdom alone outweighs the total biomass of the animal and plant kingdom put together. And it's been completely invisible to us. So we have to be very careful going down that road when we say, well, if it's not ours and it's not from Earth, it must be from outer space. It could be, but there's other options as well.
Yeah, like they've always been here. Anyways, that's that. And then I have Robert Bigelow basically saying the same thing. Let me just back this up a little. Let's see. I think
Do you imagine that in our space travels we will encounter other forms of intelligent life?
You don't have to go anywhere.
You can find it here.
Yeah.
Where exactly?
It's just like right under people's noses. Oh my gosh. Wow.
right under our noses. He's talking about in the oceans, in deep earth caverns. You know, other people have said this. Tom DeLonge, Linda Moulton Howe, Jim Semivan, Hal Prudoff, right? It's called the ultra-terrestrial model. Well, yeah, Hal Prudoff says that one of the species is a race of ancient humans that have been here since before the Ice Age. You know, again, which is why our Neolithic ancestors, you know, drew the ships. They're petroglyphs of UFOs, petroglyphs of grays. So again, I don't understand how some people don't see that as evidence that these beings have been a part of our culture for literally thousands of years. And again, there are still people who refuse to acknowledge that. Anyways, let's go to this video here about these scientists discovered non-human technological satellites in Earth's orbit.
9 of them were in a small region of the space, indicating that this was caused by some kind of a solar reflection of something artificially made. However, the problem is that these images are from the year 1950, while the first satellite Sputnik was launched in 1957. Beatrice Villarroel, an astrophysicist in the Nordic Institute of Theoretical Physics in Sweden, published a scientific paper together with her colleagues on this anomaly. The paper faced challenges during the review process due to stress among referees, and a number of astronomers overlooked the fact that there were no human satellites in the 1950s. Let's see what the study suggests. Bursts, gamma-ray bursts, or micro-lensing events, but none of them seems to match the observed properties. The study suggests two possible scenarios. Either the plate was somehow contaminated by something that produced point sources with varying intensities, or the sources were actually fast solar reflections from objects near geosynchronous orbits. The study also proposes ways to test this hypothesis by looking for similar events on other plates or images. It also demonstrates the value of using archival data to search for rare or exotic transients that might have been missed by previous surveys. The study invites further investigation and collaborating among astronomers to solve this intriguing puzzle. Nowadays, due to the large number of satellites in our sky, it's becoming increasingly challenging. Therefore, it's important to find the right approach to exclude the currently known satellites or utilize old photos, such as those from the 1950s when satellites were not present in Earth's orbit. Beatrice, together with her colleague Hichem Gregory, made an artistic recreation of the objects in a 3D program to determine what shapes and materials could theoretically create the observed flashes. And here are some of the possible shapes.
Anyways, okay, so that's that. Let me go to this next video here. Okay, now this is Karen Hudes talking about the people that actually run our banking system.
We have found out, and this sounds implausible, but it is absolutely correct. The fact that it's been held in secret doesn't mean that it's...
Yeah, let me give you some context about Karen Hudes. She was a senior attorney or lawyer for the International Monetary Fund, and when she had discovered some corruption going on with some money that was given to the Philippines, I believe it was, she reported it to Congress and ended up getting fired because, because if you haven't realized it by now, like, most of the most countries, including the United States, there's just corruption from top to bottom at this point. Well, so her reporting, the corruption that she discovered, she ended up getting fired. So after she got fired, she started coming out, making videos and doing interviews, revealing the fact that the people running our banking system were not Homo sapiens, but were Homo capensis. And after she made those videos, she got her job back. So what does that tell you?
It's not true. It is true. There's a second species on this planet. They're not extraterrestrials. They're very much with us. They made maps in the previous ice age. The remnants of their civilizations are all over the place. A lot of times along the coast, it's submerged because the sea level has gone up by 400 meters. But this group has large brains. They're very distinct from Homo sapiens. Their DNA is so different that if the two species mated, their offspring would be infertile. And we know this because their DNA was just tested. They have skulls all over the place because they have been on Earth with us. But after the Ice Age, there weren't that many of them. And so they've been hiding. And one of the places that they've been hiding is in the Vatican. That's why the Vatican are wearing those meters. It turns out that that's also what the high priest wore in the early beginnings of Judaism. Moses was actually Akhenaten, who was a pharaoh. They know this because the papyrus that was taken from one of the pyramids talks about this. The people that are doing archaeology in Israel know this. And the reason is that not only is Homo capensis trying to keep human beings under control by divide and conquer using our money system, they've also been doing this with our religions, organized religions, trying to get human beings to hate people of different religious faiths so that they will kill each other off, so that the people in the back of manipulating human beings could stay in, what can I say, could use us like cattle. That's what's been going on through our history. Because they have been going to meetings. I sent an email to a fellow in Portugal, and the next day he went to a meeting of bankers, and he sent me back an email saying that at that meeting there had been a big-skulled individual with bright blue eyes. Another person in touch with Dr. Edward Spencer, who's a retired neurologist, he's the one who started telling me about this. A friend of his was in Egypt and saw these Homo capensis running around.
One thing, these skulls are, like she says, they're found all over the world. Was it Brian Forrester has done analysis of their skulls? But what I find interesting is if you go to any university or college campus and, you can ask any anthropology professor about this, and they'll deny that these things exist. They'll say that it's a result of head binding. Yeah, check this. Yeah, look at. I'm not even sure if this is a man or a woman, but look at this person next to them, right? And yeah, these people generally are in come from very wealthy families. I know there was another photo of a software engineer. Same thing. He had an elongated skull. So these people are hiding in plain sight, and yeah, how people don't notice them, I don't know. But anyways, that's that. Let's go to this memo here. JFK UFO memo to CIA 10 days before Assassinated. So let's see. This is so David Gretz mentioned some white-collar crimes that are very un-American. I've seen many theories that really make you think, which is all I can do is think and question the converse, which each other respectively. You see, the JFK sent the attached memo to the CIA similarly 10 days before he was assassinated. This pops up immediately in most browsers with coverage from multiple mainstream media outlets, setting my thoughts on those. Let me see if I can see where it, see if I can read what it says. Oh man, let's see. Yeah, I can't make it any bigger than that, but it says a memorandum to Director, Central Intelligence Agency, subject classification, review of all UFO intelligence files affecting national security. As I have discussed with you previously, I have initiated, redacted, have instructed James Webb to develop a program with the Soviet Union in joint space and lunar exploration. It would be very helpful if you would have the high threat case reviewed with the purpose of identification of bona fide as opposed to classified CIA and U.S. Air Force sources. It is important that we make a clear distinction between the known and unknown in the event the Soviets try to mistake our extended cooperating as a cover for intelligence gathering of their defense and space programs. When this date has been sorted out, I would like to arrange a program of data sharing with NASA where unknowns are a factor. This will help NASA mission directors in their defensive responsibilities. I would like an interim report on the data review no later than February 1st. 1964, John F. Kennedy. And then it's signed by some other people. Anyways, yeah, I've heard that he was assassinated because he sicked his brother, who was the Attorney General, on the CIA, on the mob, and he also shut down all of the mob's casinos, or when he did the Bay of Pigs with Cuba, that ruined the mob's plans of opening or of having casinos in Cuba. So they lost a lot of money when it's pretty well known that that the Chicago mob helped Kennedy get elected. Anyway, so that's that. Let's go to yeah, that's this one. Let's go to this one here. This article from the Jerusalem Post. Is ET phoning home? Astronomers detect unprecedented space signals. Researchers speculate that a mysterious celestial body is sending signals to Earth at regular intervals, raising questions about extraterrestrial contact. In a groundbreaking discovery, astronomers have detected radio wave signals being transmitted to Earth at an astonishing rate of approximately 3 times per hour. This phenomenon, never before observed in space, has sparked speculation among researchers that it could potentially be a deliberate attempt by unidentified extraterrestrial beings to establish contact with humanity. You know, what I've always didn't understand is why radio wave signals? How are we, or why would some extraterrestrial species be sending radio wave signals? I mean, we don't even use radio wave signals unless my definition of radio wave signals is different than what I'm thinking. We use digital now, right? We don't use radio wave. What is it? Analog signals. We use digital signals. Scientists from Australia are currently engrossed in the task of deciphering and analyzing the perplexing messages and signals received from the vastness of outer space. They strongly believe that these transmissions may be an attempt by extraterrestrial life forms residing on distant planets to initiate communication with our species. According to a report published in the British newspaper The Mirror, researchers have confirmed the extraterrestrial origin of these signals, suggesting the presence of aliens living on another world and endeavoring to contact our planet. The report also states that an unidentified object has been transmitting messages to our world. These signals are believed to be evidence of an unidentified celestial body situated at an astounding 4,000 light years away from us. Astronomers describe this enigmatic entity as unlike anything ever observed in space. Good. You know what? If we are detecting these signals, then that would mean that these signals were sent out, 400 years ago? 4,000 years ago? Right. So even if there was a civilization out there sending out these signals, right? This is from 4,000 years ago, because it would take 4,000 light years for the signal to even reach us. So that, you're right. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't that indicate that these signals were sent 4,000 years ago and we're just now detecting them? Anyways, strange. Okay, so now this is an article from the NSA.gov website, Communication with Extraterrestrials. We are not alone in the universe. A few years ago, this notion seemed far-fetched. Today, the existence of extraterrestrial, let's see, when was this written? No date on here. Anyways, let's see. A few years ago, this notion seemed far-fetched. Today, the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence is taken for granted by most scientists. Even the State National Academy of Sciences has gone on record that contact with other civilizations is no longer something beyond our dreams, but a natural event in the history of mankind that will perhaps occur in the lifetime of many of us. Sir Bernard Lovell, one of the world's leading radio astronomers, has calculated that even allowing for a margin of error of 5,000%, there must be in our galaxy about 100 million stars which have planets of the right chemistry, dimensions, and temperature to support organic evolution. If you consider that our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is but one of at least a billion other galaxies similar to ours in the observable universe, the number of stars that could support some form of life is, to reach for a word, astronomical. As to advanced life forms, advanced by our own miserable Earth standards, Dr. Frank D. Drake of the National Radio Astronomy Observatory at Green Bank, West Virginia, has stated that putting all our knowledge together, the vast number of civilizations which could have arisen by now is about 1 billion. The next question is, where is everybody? Yeah, that's, again, a lot of these academics, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who say that, oh, if they are out there, there's no way they could get to us, right? As if some civilization that has existed, for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years before Homo sapiens came into existence, couldn't have somehow figured out a way to traverse, right, that the distance of space-time, in a much shorter way or in a different way than we would. Right. I mean, I think I find it hard to believe that a scientist would just automatically assume that some other extraterrestrial civilization would use the same method that we use to travel in space. Right. I mean, we have to carry our propulsion systems with us when we know that the crafts that we have found, they're using some other type of propulsion system, right? They don't have to like stop at a gas station and fill up, right? They're somehow able to use the natural forces, or like electromagnetism or something like that, in order to travel. So yeah, so they're not carrying any fuel with them. And again, from my understanding, one of the reasons why they the powers that be don't want to reveal the fact that we understand and we can recreate a system of propulsion that doesn't require us to carry our fuel with us would have an impact, a negative impact on the petrochemical or the petroleum industry, right? If people didn't have to like buy their energy, right? That that takes away power from the companies who are profiting from making us, right, who are forcing us to use our resources just to get around, just to heat our homes, when the reality is, that there are devices out there that, don't require pumping fuel or, buying energy from some private company so that they can profit. But anyways, that is going to be it for this video. Remember, thank you so much again for watching. And like I said before, if you appreciate the time and effort that I put into bringing this information to you, please like the video, please share the video, and most importantly, subscribe. Until next time, take care.